Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be doing my first book review, and this book is actually the first book I've read that's just solely on productivity, and if I'm being completely honest, it's changing my life. And the book I'm talking about is actually a book that I did a quick review over in my monthly favorites video, and that book is called Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. One of the key points in the book that I touched on in that previous monthly favorites video is this idea behind your daily highlight. If you haven't watched that video and you don't know what the daily highlight is, essentially what it is just you setting time in your day. They recommend anywhere between 60 minutes to 90 minutes that you do something that makes you feel fulfilled once you complete it. So it's not necessarily about getting as much done as fast as possible and being as hyper productive as you can be. It is all just about you feeling accomplished and fulfilled at the end of the day. You feeling like you're moving towards the goal or the passion project that you are working on that is ultimately just going to make you feel more alive once you complete it. And to steal a quote from the book, Make Time is about creating a framework designed to help you actually create more time in your days for what you actually care about. To me, this book was about reducing friction in areas of your life you want to be more diligent and mindful about while creating friction in the places that you want to avoid. The book is filled with real-world examples from the authors Jake and Jay-Z and kind of goes into why they're actually qualified to give advice on how to be more productive. There are two guys that worked in the tech industry for, I believe, about a decade or more. One of them worked in YouTube, one of them worked for Google. And they found themselves constantly in a rut of being extremely busy, what they call the busy bandwagon, but also never feeling that feeling of fulfillment or like they were actually getting a lot done in their days. And one of the reasonings behind this and why you might feel the same way is because of something that they call infinity pools. And what infinity pools are, they're essentially just anything you can think of that is a never-ending stream of new content. So think Instagram, you refresh, there's always new stuff to look at. Facebook, same thing. TikTok, that is literally infinite. And pretty much just everything that everyone spends a good chunk of their day probably on. And what I love about the book is that they're not taking the stereotypical stance of self-development where it's like, just put the phone down, don't use it, you don't need it, blah, 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 blah. They're very modest in their approach, saying that they themselves are very easily distracted and they don't want to give up a lot of these luxuries that we have in our world today. So what they do is they have a 3-step approach on how to feel more fulfilled at the end of your day, as well as kind of like a little bonus slide in to help yourself be even more productive in your day. In each section of the book, they give a list of particular strategies that can help you implement each one of the 3 practices into your day. And the 3-step process is highlight, laser focus, reflect on your day, and the bonus slide in is how to energize. So the daily highlight again is just 60 to 90 minutes that you spend laser focused on a project that when you complete, you are gonna feel fulfilled and very accomplished. And its intent is just to get you to slow down and experience the moments that you want to experience rather than rushing through them to get to the next to-do on your list. And they go into details on how to pick your highlight based off of things such as the urgency of the project, the satisfaction that you're going to feel once a project's completed, also the joy that the project brings you as you are working on that particular project. Some examples could be finish the proposal for work that you're excited about, write 1,500 words for that book that you're working on. Or my personal favorite, spending some time with your family. All of those things, once completed, if you notice, they're either passion projects or there's something that's gonna bring you joy. So when you complete them, you actually feel a sense of relief instead of just marking off another to-do, onto the next thing all day. Some of my favorite tactics that they mention about the daily highlight in the book is one, writing the daily highlight down, just having a tangible spot that you can see wherever you work that has your daily highlight there so you remember to focus on that daily highlight at some point in your day. Jake's burners list is also a really good strategy where he goes about explaining how he breaks things down into senses of urgency and what he actually is going to prioritize in that day. And of course, the good old-fashioned scheduling it out. I also like this chapter because there's real practical advice on how to remain productive even if your schedule doesn't allow you to do something that's super commonly said in the productivity space, and that is wake up before the sun or wake up early. They actually give you a decent amount of advice on, if that doesn't work for you, how you can actually still remain productive in your life. And I really appreciated that because I know a lot of people that just aren't early birds like I am. So it's good that there's messages out there promoting a different message because we're not all the same. And if people want to stay up late to work and that works for you and is sustainable, you should be able to do that. The second part of the book is called Laser, where your attention is focused in the present like a laser beam. And I've been finding this quite easy. I've been really excited about the project that I'm working on, but some of the strategies that are listed in the book that I also found very useful are: be the boss of your own phone by cleaning up your home screen and turning off all notifications. As far as notifications go, I didn't have that many on to begin with. I've known this strategy for a while, but when I went and changed and rearranged my home screen, it has been so nice to go onto my phone, and it went from just a complete disaster to nice and organized to where the first screen is just stuff that I need on a daily basis, and it's all about productivity and things that aren't going to get me distracted. As you can see, it's much more organized and looks amazing. My only wish is that I had a before video to show you of how bad it actually was. It was terrible. Another strategy I've been implementing in this laser category is scheduling time for things like email, Twitter, Instagram, anything that would technically be considered like an infinity pool that can just suck your attention in, and you can be lost for a long time. Setting those times for those things to have the moments where I am able to enjoy those has really been helping me as well. Also, putting friction around things such as making these videos, having my setup pretty much ready to go so there's less friction in me starting them, but also adding friction in things such as TV. You know, they talk about TV and how it's very common for people in their homes to put the TV the center of their living room, to where that's like the main attraction. And they mention in the book that on average Americans spend 4.3 hours watching TV a day. And I don't know if that's just predicated on just screens in general, or, you know, they're including Netflix on that, but still almost 4.5 hours where we're spending just zoned in on a TV, where that's time that we can be spending not necessarily doing things that we don't have to all be reading and whatnot, but we could be spending more time with friends and family in a more, I guess, socially conducive way that would probably benefit us more than watching the latest Netflix binge. I also really like their tips on staying in the zone, and one of my favorites was the random questions list. This list has really helped me whenever anything pops up in my head. I do use my phone. I use the reminder app, but I put on there anytime I'm working on something that I have scheduled to do. If something pops in my head, I write it right away in that list, and that's it. And I get back to it later in the day. Every single day I have a reminder at 6 p.m. to tell me to look at my randoms list, and then that way I can go through those things and spend the last like 30 minutes going over them all, getting them done. And yeah, and then I don't necessarily miss anything. I just have them scheduled for a particular time, and it's not ruining my flow of work. The third piece of the book, the reflect portion, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally just reflecting on how well your day went and implementing some of the strategies that they recommend in the book and seeing which ones work for you. They mention using the scientific method, observe, make a hypothesis, experiment, and then measure. And they say to use that with the tactics in the book because they're forthright about being honest with the fact that not all of these strategies are going to work for everyone. And the idea behind the book and why there's so many strategies in there is for you as the individual to test these out. And the bonus portion in the book is the Energized chapter. And essentially what that is Jake and Jay-Z giving tips on how you can better take care of yourself to be more productive and more present in the projects that you do work on throughout the day. So they go into the story about Urk, the caveman, how he used to live in caves, how he would spend his days moving, hunting and gathering for food, eating those whole foods such as fruits, berries, gazelle on the plains, woolly mammoths, things like that. And what they're doing is a very common way of thinking, especially from a personal trainer's perspective, is that that's how I tend to kind of look at things when it comes to helping someone improving their life for their health and for their body composition. Nowadays, we're so disconnected from how our biology has actually evolved that I think a lot of the things that we just don't even notice that we do because they're so common can really mess with our energy levels and just cause these things like unmindfulness and being groggy throughout the day. And the chapter gives a lot of information on how to be energized, not just to be more productive, but overall just to be healthier and just to live a more fulfilled life, such as eating whole food, not drinking too much caffeine, definitely not late in the day, going to bed at a reasonable time in a dark room, and taking some time away from all the tech and technology that we use and just giving yourself some headspace. And speaking of headspace, they do actually mention the Headspace app that is a very nice meditation app. That's something I also recommend clients do because it can be difficult to get that initial inertia to meditate, but a lot of times having that external source, a reminder, if you will, as well as external feedback and guided meditation, it can really help with your progress. And meditation took a while for me personally. I want to say it took me about 4 years of meditating before I actually got a full grip on how to do it properly. But that's just because I'm crazy type A and my brain's always going 100 miles an hour. So I found it really difficult, but it's nice again to see another source of information telling more people to meditate, because I really believe it's super beneficial because we're all so distracted and there's so much going on around us and we have so many things to do that taking that deep breath can be very beneficial for your productivity and your well-being. So all in all, I really enjoyed the Make Time book. I think the authors did a very good job on making it easily digestible for all. There's a lot of little subtle humor in there, maybe more dad joke than some people would be accustomed to, but it was in my wheelhouse. There was also a lot of graphics, and all those things just made the book feel a lot less self-helpy, and it wasn't as extreme as a lot of self-help books that I've read in the past can be. So for that reason, I think I would give this book a 9 out of 10, just because I think it's very easily digestible to most people. My only complaint on the book would be that I'm actually one of those people that likes those really strong, compelling stories that have you almost on the edge of your seat. And when a self-help book does that for me, it really captures my attention and makes me not want to put it down. But implementing the strategies in this book has helped me exponentially over the past few weeks, and I definitely recommend it to anyone that's trying to improve their overall productivity and improve just their general overall quality of life and getting more fulfillment throughout their day because they're working on something they're passionate about every single day. If you like that book review, please consider subscribing and liking the video so that I know that people are enjoying these and I can plan more for the future. Thank you, and I'll see you all on the next book. Happy reading.